Ooh la la.
Now you make a cone. You tuck this in here, tuck that in. That's it. We have a cone. We've made our delicious, look at that, beautiful moi moi, plant-based and so delicious. Hey beautiful people, welcome to a new video. In this series, I am sharing about anti-inflammatory cooking. If you are someone interested in reducing inflammation, pain, then this video is something you should stay around to watch. Now, moi moi is a Nigerian staple. We eat moi moi in most Nigerian occasions, and actually it's almost like a weekly ritual in most households. I actually grew up, my mom, I have two moms, I have a stepmom, both of them sold moi moi at different times. We supplied supermarkets and actually offices. So I have a wealth of experience in making moi moi, and it's so delicious. And actually, because I grew up with it, I eat it a lot. I am trying to make this actually anti-inflammatory, so taking out any animal protein. Now, this is actually a bit of a feat if you don't have the right tricks, but I'm going to share with you. So let's cut the chase and let's go over to how we actually make our moi moi. So we're starting with beans. Now, these are black eye beans, or these are actually a different beans from Nigeria. They're a mixed sort of colored beans, as you can see. Now you can use them as they are, but making them anti-inflammatory means I want to reduce the inflammation in beans. Now, pulses in beans can be really good, but also they have anti-nutrients. What are anti-nutrients? They're the things that prevent you from digesting them. So you hear the whole carnivore people talking about reducing or stop eating any grains and beans, and there is a reason behind it, because these things, they protect them from being eaten by people and animals. However, they are also really nutritious. In the blue zone, studies have shown that one of their major staples are pulses, beans and lentils. So we need to incorporate more beans in our diet, especially if you're plant-based. Now, if you have a serious autoimmune condition, you might need to eliminate it for a while. But if you have just things like bloating, indigestion, heartburn with beans, then I'm going to share with you how you can improve your eating beans. We start by soaking this just for a few minutes, and then you wash them. You can use a food processor. I have a few shots where I share how I actually peel those beans, and you have them into this. Now, this thing doubles. So this is actually 2 cups of beans. Once it's washed, you see how much swollen it is. Yes, amazing, right? So I have washed them, and I have rinsed them, and they are now ready to be cooked. Some people want to keep the skin, the outer hull, because of the fiber. That's exactly just what that looks like. I'll just show you. So this is the outer hull. However, for me, I cook it without, and I can add my fiber in my salads, but we just want to have more of the beans in our meal. Now, we also need a few ingredients, which I will be sharing with you. The main ingredients to use to make moi moi are, we have some salt and pepper. You could use fresh pepper, but I am using some dried ones. These are called Cameroon peppers. Now, onions, especially if you are doing this thing plant-based, onions are essential, okay? These are onion powder. I also have some mushroom powder. This is lion's mane mushroom. You can use any kind of mushroom you want, all right? I also have here some all-purpose seasoning, a bit of seaweed. Now, seaweed is really good to help you digest your protein, and as in plant protein. So I always use seaweed when I cook beans or lentils. It's really, really good. This is kelp powder. I also add it to my smoothies because it's one really good source of iodine. So if you know you have issues with your thyroid, you obviously need to see a doctor because it could be low, it could be high, but seaweed is, for me, is something I used to just get the natural iodine without needing to supplement in any other shape or form. And then I have my secret ingredient. If you want the secret ingredient, let me know in the comment section. Anyway, I'll share it, guys. It is nutmeg. Now, I have nutmeg powder here. This is nutmeg powder. It's just a tiny pinch. You see the quantities here. The seaweed, my all-purpose seasoning, and nutmeg powder. I just have half teaspoons of them for the quantity. I'm making 2 cups. I'm making 2 cups of beans right here, okay? And then we also would love to use paprika powder. Now, you don't have to use the powder. You can use it fresh, but I like using a bit of both, okay? And finally, we want to make this thing sweet. We don't use MSG. I don't use MSG. MSG is an artificial flavor enhancer that has been known to be a neurotoxin. So I have eliminated MSG from my cooking a few years back. So how do I replace sweetness? Because MSG makes a difference to your cooking, believe you me. And without MSG, you will notice it. However, you can retrain your taste buds. So I'm not telling you that this food will taste completely like a processed MSG food. No, but it's better for your health, for me, and also nutritious. So now this is what we do. We are going to be using, this is milk here. This is tiger nut milk. I have videos, shorts on how I make tiger nut milk. If you don't really have access to tiger nut milk, because I'm not sure what the store-bought one will look like, you can use, yes, you can use coconuts. Now, coconut milk is also really good, actually very, very good for moi moi. The only drawback I have with coconut milk is that coconut milk will give you that coconut flavor when you finish cooking. And if you don't really want to have coconut taste in moi moi every time, then I would avoid coconut. Now, tiger nut milk has to be really creamy. Can you see what it looks like? Can you see the sediment? This is resistant starch, and this is so good for you. So into our blender, we have some paprika, or just the pointy red peppers. You could use the hot ones as well. It's all entirely up to you. And then we'll add some onions. I know we're adding some onion powder, but I also love adding some onions in here. And then we'll put in our beans. And finally, beautiful, delicious milk. So if you notice here, I haven't filled it to the top with the milk. This is because you don't want it too runny. We also still have beans here. We're going to add the liquid in increments. This is, I don't want to say there's no like specific measurement, because I'm sure there is if you actually sit down and take measurements. But this is how we grew up. We use our eyes to measure things. So if you have issues with cooking it, just add little water, so you keep adding your water in. Now if you have a decent blender, I'm using a Vitamix, and that makes my blending really smooth. But if you have any other blender, ensure you have a smooth paste. Some people don't mind having bits in Moi Moi, but Moi Moi traditionally is really smooth and actually really tender and delicious and safe for even babies that are being weaned. So it's quite smooth. It has to be. You see how beautiful that looks? We're going to go ahead and add our dry ingredients. I'm starting with my seaweed and nutmeg and all-purpose seasoning. Now, I make my own seasoning mix. You can buy something, but if you're wanting to avoid MSG, look at the ingredient list in any spice you buy. They are hidden there, yes. But nutmeg makes a huge difference. Like, I can already smell the moi moi. It smells so good. A bit of salt and black pepper, or Cameroon pepper in this case. And then the onion powder. Onion powder is a highly underrated thing, and I always make mine. I am one person that likes making all my spices from scratch. So the processing, I know what has been taken out or put into it. It's so important when we buy processed things, because to know what exactly is going in there. So I'll encourage you. I know it takes a lot of time, but if you are buying them, try and get them from like reputable sources, okay? And then this is mushroom powder. Now, mushroom powder adds flavor to your plant cooking. You can use any type of mushroom powder, but I'm using lion's mane because it's really been shown to be good for brain health and development. And yeah, that's one of the powders I use. And now beautiful paprika. I think I have a lot of smoky paprika because this is quite red as it stands. So I'm going to save some. And then we'll blend this again just to give it a good whip mix. When I grew up making moi moi, we used foil and we used, I think it was more foil paper. Now, foil is aluminum. This is what I would recommend you use. These are uma leaves. These are like what we use to wrap moi moi. And actually, it gives such a nice flavor that you would really not want to use anything else. Obviously, depends on where you are, how you can get access to it. You can also use things like banana leaves, which you can buy from pretty much every Asian shop. Okay, we buy these ones from the African shops. They're about £1 or £2 now for about, yeah, this will give me about 10 wraps of moi moi. I always freeze them. This is just from the freezer, and then I'll give it a good wash before I use it to cook, okay? If you haven't got any of that, you've got ramekins. These ones have lids. You can buy the ones without lids, if you whatever you get access to. And I actually sometimes line my ramekins with the moi moi leaves and steam it that way. It's really, really delicious with the leaves, like I said. So if you can't use the ramekins, you don't have access to these ramekins, you can even bake it in a baking pan or steam it in a pot. So ultimately, if you can, just avoid aluminum. That's the whole message, reducing inflammation. And plastic. Plastic is a no-no. Like, you shouldn't be cooking with plastic. This is 2025. I believe people know more about that, but I must still say it here. Let's reduce inflammatory things in our health. What we put in really matters. So if you can't find any of those, you can even just use like a glass. This is a glass bowl. You can use this and you just steam. So you put it under a steaming rack. Even in the oven, this is obviously oven safe. You can bake this in the oven. Now, if you want to bake moi moi in the oven, you put a tray of water, because moi moi dries out in the oven. Put a tray of water in the oven, and then you put, just like you do sourdough, you know, like put steam. And then you cover it with something so it doesn't dry out and it will steam. So you're using the oven to steam, but it's not dry. You see the point? Anyway, I hope that tip helps you. Just give this a good wash under running water. You don't need to add soap or anything like that. Okay, we finished washing. And next, it will be time to wrap. Now, if you don't know how to wrap moi moi, stay tuned. I'm using olive oil in this case. You can use palm oil, just a little bit, not too much. Guys, I'm using a new camera and I'm still learning how to use it. But I want to get this camera to go into my bowl, but oh, the struggles, hey? Anyway, let's start wrapping our moi moi. So you take one leaf. Let's get ourselves in focus again. You take one leaf and you take a second leaf. Now you have to overlap the leaf. Now before you start, actually, you have your pots cooking. So I have my pots on the hob and it is currently cooking. Yeah, so I have this set up here. I'll show you. It's steaming. You can see the steaming rack in there. And there's water. The water is just below the rack. That is because we don't want to cook this directly. We are steaming it, okay? Some people can do this with one, but if you're not used to doing this, you should try with two, okay? So you overlap it, but you leave. You see what I've done there? There's a bit of a gap between those two. And now you make a cone. You tuck this in here. Tuck that in. That's it. We have a cone. We have a beautiful cone, and we're just going to fold the bottom. Now you snap. That's it. And that is sealed there, preventing any leakage. One more time. First leaf, it doesn't matter the size, just overlap and leave a gap. Okay? Overlap, roll. We're making a funnel or a cone or a funnel. What do you want to call it? And you've gone round. We've made that beautiful cone. And then tuck the bottom and we fill. So we're filling that up with our pudding. It doesn't have to be too full, okay? Because we want this thing to cook properly. So once we filled, I used 2 scoops and it's just about, depends on what you want, but this is about a meal. For 2 of it will be a proper meal. So 1 of it is not enough. But if you're having something with it like salad, then you have 1. So you bring this end in, this end comes in, this end comes over. You just tucking it in. So different people do that different ways. But essentially, you have this back side. You see that? Folding over. So there's no leakage. No leakage. Okay, leave a comment if you have a different way of wrapping. But this is how I've wrapped and it seems to work pretty good. Bring this end in. This one over. That one over. Sealed triangle. I cut leaves just so it covers the base of the ramekin, like so. So that's my little leaf. I'm just going to put that there. We've just lined it with the leaves. You don't have to, but I love the flavor and it helps prevent it from sticking. That's one positive bit. These ramekins have lids, so they will be covered up. Okay, now we're going to cover everything and let it cook for about 45 minutes. 45 minutes is the sweet spot on medium heat, okay? Not quite ready yet, but it's nearly there. Moi Moi is ready, guys. It's ready and it smells so good. Ooh, steamy and hot. We're going to take 1 or 2 out, see what it's like. Okay, let's see what it's looking like. Can you see that beautiful? Look at the look, the color. And let's have a slice. Oh yeah, it's well done. Very moist. That's what the tiger nut does to it. Really sweet. Really nice. Guys, we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched till this point, have you enjoyed the video? Give us a thumbs up if you have. Have you learned something like try using tiger nut milk for your moi moi? You will love me. It's moist, it's delicious, and it's sweet, and it's plant-based. No MSG, yeah? People that don't want crayfish, any animal ingredient, then you can try this recipe. And I am sure, I guarantee you, you will come back and let me know how delicious your meal was. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, once again, do not fail to share it with your loved ones that will really benefit from plant-based, or people that you know are vegan and they want to try Nigerian milk, or you want to cook for people that are your loved ones and you don't know how to make this thing plant-based. Let me know what other recipes you would like me to try or share with you as plant-based only, and I am sure we will get a beautiful, delicious recipe at the end of the day. Anyway, thank you once again. Give us a thumbs up. Until next time, see you in another video. Bye.